You are listening to the Mountainside Podcast, and our guest for this episode is ultramarathon runner Brooklyn Montoya. Brooklyn is an amazing young woman with incredible drive and work ethic. I really enjoyed her company today. She has recently been selected to run in the Leadville 100-mile race over the Continental Divide. She is currently the youngest woman in history to be selected. We talked about much more than just running and training. This was a great episode. I really enjoyed her company, and I hope that you enjoy the listen.
Right. That's so cool.
Cool. Are you ready to get into this thing?
Let's do it.
All right. Here we go. Brooklyn, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This is
excited
so
to
cool.
talk to you today.
Me too, honestly. This is a cool setup.
It was a little hard to come in today. I mean, it's
Yeah.
freaking beautiful out,
It's
right?
so nice. So nice. I went running and it was so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Where'd you run at?
I ran up Waterton Canyon
Okay.
all the time. It's super close to our house, so I just went up there and it's awesome. Yeah.
That is beautiful up there.
So pretty and it's so close.
Right.
So
You got to watch out for rattlesnakes up there, though, in the summer,
yes.
right?
And I hate rattlesnakes. Like,
Me
I have
too.
a legit fear of them, so I get scared. But I carry a bunch of stuff with me. Pepper
Awesome.
spray, taser, all of it. So,
I actually, I was visiting here. I was doing the NFL kickoff here. I didn't live here for a period of time.
oh, okay.
So I grew up here,
Yeah.
but I had moved away. So I was
Yeah.
visiting family, and I was working in Denver, and I was like, we need a close place. Like, I just want to get out and go for a hike or whatever.
Yes.
Let's take the family.
Yes.
So we all met at Waterton Canyon,
Awesome.
and we started up the canyon. And I think that there's like maybe about a mile up, there's like a restroom, like a public
Yes.
restroom, right?
Yeah.
Like
About a mile. Mile and a
about-
half. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And so all my family, all these little nephews and nieces and like little kids, right?
Yeah.
One of them picked up a baby rattler. The thing must have been like this big.
Oh, my God.
Because he had no idea what it was. He thought
Oh,
it was
no.
a stick or something, and it bit him like around the thumb
Oh, my goodness.
3 times. Yeah.
What?
So as soon as we saw that, we went into like
oh, man.
panic mode, right?
Right.
And I think I grabbed him, and I was just like, somebody dial 911. I'm going to start heading. Tell him that I'll meet him at I'll be on the trail, or I'll be at
Yeah.
the bottom right at the road,
Yeah.
whatever road that is there. So I just booked it, and that's about the extent of my running.
Oh, my
is in a panic.
gosh.
But he had to get life flighted and everything to children. Yeah, as soon as I handed him off to the firefighters, and I think it's West Metro right there, right? Super cool guys. They were like,
yeah.
do you care if we call a helicopter? I was like, absolutely. Do whatever you need to do.
Even for a baby rattlesnake?
Yeah. So
Wow.
he was.
Well, now I'm
luckily-
really scared.
Well, I think because he was so small, he was like
Yeah.
2 or 3 years old, I think,
Okay.
at the time.
Yeah.
And because he was so small and the hand that he was bitten on, I guess, I didn't know it, but there's the reason why you wear your wedding ring on your ring finger on your left hand is there's a vein that runs all the way to your heart.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
Gabby, that's what I've heard. Is it true?
What?
That's what I've heard.
Okay.
I don't know if that's 100%.
So they were
Oh, my
like, because
goodness.
he was bit on his left hand, it's a bit
Oh, you
more
don't want it
critical,
to
right?
go to
Because
his
that's where the
heart.
venom's trying to get.
Oh, my God.
That's what the doctors explained. They were like, that's why they probably life flighted him. So yeah, I handed him off to the firefighter. I mean, he was like actually in pretty good spirits. Like he didn't really know what was going on. I was trying to be calm. I was just like,
pain?
he was actually kind of all about me holding him and running
Yeah.
down the trail. Right?
Free ride.
Yeah, and then he got a little freaked out when he saw like the fire truck was just pulling in as I got to the bottom of the trail. It's probably,
Oh, man.
I think it might have been a record mile run for me.
Right?
You know, it was all downhill. So
Shoot.
that helped. But I handed him off, and they were like, we're going to call a helicopter. There was an ambulance there. They put him in the back of the ambulance, and then within 5 minutes, he was in the helicopter and
Wow.
gone. Like, those guys were so amazing.
Yeah, they are quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And luckily, my sister was right behind me, so she came a couple minutes behind me,
Oh,
and
my
she was able to ride in the
gosh.
helicopter with him.
That
Like,
is
yeah.
crazy. Well, now
So
I
it's cool.
really hate him.
But yeah, he totally came through it, but it was pretty wild. Like we went and
Yeah.
saw him at the hospital, and he had It was crazy. They put all these marks on him, and then I guess they gave him anti-venom
Okay.
to, like, you kind of have to, like, balance it
Oh,
or
yeah.
something. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. There's a whole
Wow.
little deal behind it.
How did they treat him? Do you know?
So they gave him the anti-venom, which I think that they give it to, like, sheep. They give actual venom to sheep, and then they produce antibodies, and they take the antibodies from the sheep.
Okay.
So it's kind of a balance. So they Sharpie all over his arm with certain times.
Oh, yeah. I take a Sharpie running for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're supposed to track your swelling,
Uh-huh.
right? And so they write on it, and if it went past the line or whatever, they would give him some more anti-venom, and then as it went down, they just kind of chased it back to his thumb, but his whole thumb turned black.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, it was crazy. He had to go through some, like, physical therapy type stuff.
Shoot.
And
Yeah, I take a Sharpie running for rattlesnakes.
really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's the MO if you get bit or something? What's the Sharpie for? It's just to mark it, or?
There's a couple different, like, you hear funny stories of what to do. From what I've picked up, if you get bit, you circle it with a Sharpie and write the time. And then whenever the ambulance comes, if it's past that circle, hey, let's life flight you out. Right. This is getting bad. So
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. I mean, that's exactly what they did at the firefighters did it in the ambulance.
Okay.
I think, yeah. And then they did it at the hospital.
Yeah.
With him too.
That's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, that's why I'm so I don't know why people give first responders a hard time. It really irks me, just because of the sheer fact of what those guys go through.
Yes.
And how willing they are to help you or put their own life in line.
I know. I'm
sure that there's, not 100% of them are all good, but the majority of the firefighters, policemen, first responders that I know, active military, they're all just like genuinely good people that are self-sacrificing.
And it's a hard job.
Right?
I used to be a nurse on an oncology unit at Skyridge. Okay. I was a CNA, so a nursing assistant, and I had to quit because I'm like, this is so sad. Like I literally couldn't do it. I don't know how they do it.
I don't know how they do it either. I
mean, major props, because
I think if I was forced into that position, I would, but I wouldn't voluntarily choose it unless there was like an absolute shortage, and we almost saw that during the pandemic.
Oh yeah, that was part of it.
Crazy,
it was so short staffed that I'm like, I can't do 20 patients by myself. Like, this is too much. So
yeah, and they're seeing that like nationwide.
Yeah,
I heard a scary freaking thing the other day on Breaking Points. I don't know if you listen to that podcast. It's like an alternative news podcast.
Okay.
But they're really good. It's one person from the right and one person from the left.
Oh, man.
Crystal and Sagar.
Oh, my
And they're
goodness.
incredible. But they were talking about how the airline industry is like overdue for a catastrophic event, like a plane crash, and how the turnover rate and what the corporations are kind of asking their pilots and stuff to do. That they've had a couple near misses because there's been a turnover rate in air traffic control. So like this has all happened in the last couple months. There was a plane coming from Hawaii and it nosedived like 700 feet from hitting the ocean. Yeah. And they don't know why. Then the plane landed. Safely, right? So they went through all this, right? The plane landed. It pulled up to the gate. They let everybody off.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It was like some crazy negative like G-force. So some people had to be like admitted to the hospital and stuff.
I'm sure.
And you didn't really hear about this on mainstream media.
Right,
which
I was
going to
say
crazy.
that's
just,
wild.
Like, totally
like,
under the blanket, right?
Wow.
But yeah, they pulled up to the gate and then the flight took off 2 hours later. The same plane.
Oh my gosh! What?
So they like turned the flight around. They're like,
oh, I'm gonna have to listen to this.
Yeah,
that's wild.
And then they have had a couple like super close like near misses. So I think it's not only like in the medical industry. I think it's first responders too. I mean, everything that they've went through in the last couple months, or
it's crazy
past couple years, and
oh my gosh,
the whole defund the police. I don't understand.
I know it's wild. I literally couldn't do it. I'm like, I quit. I can't do this. It's too sad. Too sad.
Were you working in a specific unit at that time, or like a?
So I was on a med-surg oncology unit. It was actually so I got the job and I got the job on the same floor, same hospital that Mark was on for
Really?
cancer. Yep. While he was in there for staff, I interviewed. So we had no idea about cancer or anything. I interviewed. I got the job. I worked up until he got his kidney removed. He got the surgery, and then after that, I started going back to work, and I said no more. I can't do this anymore. Yeah, it was wild.
So did you kind of have an insight of what was, I mean, because you knew the unit and you knew some of the staff there.
And that was so terrible because I knew a little more than, family and everything. So I've got all these things playing in my head and
Yeah,
so,
that was wild.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine. I've gone through it with some family members and stuff, but that hit hard for me, even being an outsider, just a friend of Mark. And
yes.
And I was feeling for you and your family, but
thank you.
He's such a rock star. Like I never doubted that he wouldn't pull through that. And then having him in here few weeks ago and talking to him, and he's just such an awesome guy.
Isn't
Love
he?
that guy.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. Like still, even when we talk about it, I'm like, how is this real? This doesn't feel real.
Right.
So, and I think he feels that way too.
3 or 4 months later, he's deadlifting and running.
Yes, I know. He texted me a video. He was running on the treadmill. I think he put it on Instagram. Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what are you doing? So. Yeah,
shout out to Coach Mark Montoya.
Yeah,
awesome
for real.
Individual. One of my favorite guests to have on. His episode just crushed. I mean, he's such a loved guy in the community.
I know. We got so much support.
Speaking of that, let's dive into I want to talk about what you have coming up.
Yes.
And it's I think it's totally amazing. But I guess just to bring that to light, you're aspiring ultra runner.
Yeah.
You've completed one ultra marathon, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. And a bunch of other marathons.
Yeah.
You're aspiring to do this, and at a very young age, younger than normal. So you're gaining some serious traction. And then your family, who you come from, you grew up in an MMA gym pretty much, right? Around savages. So let's dial it way back. Let's just start at the beginning. And what was it like kind of growing up in that environment around professional fighters?
Honestly, I credit a lot of how I am and how Wyatt is to growing up the way that we did. It's super unique. After school, kids would go home and go play video games or whatever. Like Wyatt and I would go to the gym and sit there forever and be with the fighters. And so it's super unique. It's very different. I think that's where I've gotten a lot of the work ethic that I have, and the I don't want to say maturity, but maturity of just how I am as a person from them, because I've always been around older people and these elite, incredible athletes. How can you not want to do something elite, so. Yeah,
being surrounded by incredible people at their craft.
Yes.
That's one of the best things about this podcast that I love so much.
Percenters.
Yes.
That you don't see anywhere else. So.
100%. And the drive and the way that they carry themselves, because you have to carry yourself with some professionalism, especially when you have those sort of tools and that kind of background. And a lot of these guys, this isn't the only thing that they do either. Some of them have full-time jobs. So this is extra over and above, right?
Like Brandon Royval would literally work all night long. I think he did something in a prison or juvie, or I don't know, maybe security there. He would work all night and then go sleep for a couple hours in the morning and then go train all day long. It's so crazy. So sometimes Wyatt and I forget that the whole world is not like these fighters, So. Yeah.
And Wyatt's your brother, right?
Wyatt's my brother.
Yeah. One sibling?
One sibling. Okay. Him and I. Yeah. Yeah.
He's a crazy dude. I follow him on Instagram.
He's so crazy. We get along so well, best buds. It's so great.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That can be unusual sometimes in siblings, right?
It is.
Yeah, I'm super fortunate that I get along with all my siblings pretty well too. We're kind of
it's so important.
We start some trouble together,
Yeah. You have to, right?
Right. So when we had your dad in here a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. We were talking to him, and you came up in conversation because you had reached out to me to come on the podcast. And he kind of started the story, but I want to hear it from you.
Yeah, thank you. Because he really botched it. I'm listening, and I'm like, dude, no.
Uh-oh. Publicly on blast.
Right?
Yeah.
No, he did get it right. So before COVID, running was not something I did, like, at all. But you take the family I grew up in, and there's no room to, like, be a wimp or, oh, I don't want to go run today, you know? So sometimes we go on these trail runs, and I would cry the whole run, like, literally cry. I hate this. I don't want to do this. He would, like, take the palm of his hand and put it on my back and, like, push me down the trail to, like, literally finish these runs, because I'm like, no, I don't want to do this. And then right before COVID happened, I went to Africa the summer prior to COVID, and I came back in January and got malaria. Like, almost died.
What were you doing in Africa?
It was a mission trip through our church, so I was there for 2 weeks. It was incredible, like, such perspective to go there. But I came back in July. And by January, I got super sick, and we were kind of like, what the heck? Like, it's January. We never thought of malaria. That was back in the summer. I'd gotten super sick, and I came hours from going into a coma and essentially dying. It was wild, so crazy. But that was right before COVID. So we were really lucky, because they would have written me off as, oh, she has COVID. And
how did you contract it, you think? From water or
it's
food,
from mosquitoes, actually. So it gets in your blood. I had taken all my malaria medication, and then while I was there, I got a UTI. And so I took antibiotics, and it ended up canceling the malaria meds out. Yeah, I had no idea that you can't take, like, 2 different things at a time, and so they didn't work. And I got malaria. So
and you didn't realize it until you got back stateside, or?
Correct. Yep. So I got back in July, and I was good until January, and then I started getting really sick.
Oh, wow. It was that dormant that long.
Apparently it can stay in your system for 4 years.
Wow.
So the doctors never, like, oh, let's test for malaria, until it got so bad that, 105 fevers and I can't walk, and they're like, dude, what the hell? So.
Wow. Yeah, no, mosquitoes are the number one killer of man when it comes to, like,
crazy.
animals or insects.
I'm like, dude, a little bug, like, and I'm gonna die.
Rattlesnakes are way down there.
Crazy. Yeah. So.
Or venomous snakes. So.
Yeah, that happened, and then I got better, and COVID happened. So once COVID happened, I had been on the couch for 3 months. I hadn't done anything, and my main sport was jiu-jitsu. That was my thing. And then we shut the gym down. So I'm like, well, what the heck do I have now? So I started running, and then I brought the idea of, hey, you think I can do a 5K? And he's like, of course you can. The big coach talk. I'm like, okay. He flips the coach and dad switch on and off. I'm like, okay, no. Of course you can do it. I'm like, okay. So he bribes me into this half marathon, and we went and did it. And he's filming Wyatt and I, like, hey, after, how do you feel? And I remember seeing one of our fighters had run 20 miles like a week prior, because he was bored. It was COVID. And he pans to me, and he's like, how do you feel? You just did your first half marathon. And I'm like, I'm going to go run 7 more miles to make the 20 miles. And he sort of, like, thought I was joking,
Why not? If you're that far
right. I'm like, dude, we're 7 miles out. Like, but he thought I was joking. Like, I'm going from couch to half marathon. And so he stops the video, and he, like, gets in the truck. And I'm like, no, like, I'm doing 7 more miles. And so he dropped me off in our neighborhood, and I went around and did my 7 more. And, from then on, I'm like, dang, if I could go couch to 20 miler, like, I can do a marathon.
Right.
So.
But I think what's interesting about this is you used to hate running, right?
Oh, yeah.
So was it really just like, God, I have nothing to do, I'm going to try this? Or is it because you hated it so much that?
I think it was that in a little bit, but I didn't really have that like I do now. Mm-hmm. It was more of, pre-COVID and pre getting into running. It was a force, like, you have no choice. We're doing this because I told you we're going to do this. Once COVID happened and I had nothing else to do, I'm like, well, self-inflicted, I'm choosing to do this. So
Sure.
now it's fun.
Yeah, that's a little bit different.
Oh
isn't
yeah.
it?
Oh yeah. So different. Now I'm like, oh, well, this is actually fun. Like, so self-inflicted for sure.
And where?
How did malaria affect your body? Like, you just ran 20 miles. Like, were you exhausted? How did that affect your stamina, your muscles? Like, I could not imagine sitting on the couch for 3 months and then just getting up and be like, okay,
let's run 20 miles. So it took me, I ended up having malaria, mono, and pneumonia all at the same time. So
Okay.
so they found all three. Yeah, right. they found all three.
Wow.
I was not like technically, so I was released from the hospital. And it took me a good month or two to feel human again. But once I felt human again, I'm like, I was good. Full recovery. I was great.
Just ready to go.
Ready to go. That malaria will be in my blood forever. So I get paranoid, like,
Really?
because it can come back. So I get paranoid, like.
So what is the post-treatment? I guess, what were you doing and where were you at in Africa specifically?
I was in Rwanda. Oh yeah. So we were.
That's the Congo. Isn't
Oh
it?
yeah, we were like not a nice part of Africa in like a nice hotel. No, like,
Sure.
yeah, super. I don't know, rugged. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've been to some spots in Africa, but I've never been out in the cut where it's like
Oh yeah.
really bad poverty and you have to worry
Yes.
about so many different things.
So
right?
many things. So many things.
Wow. So who were you helping there, and what was kind of happening? Can we dive into that story? Because that's something that's totally interesting.
It's
to
so
me.
cool. So we were in Rwanda, but we were in a little like a village essentially. And we pretty much helped this one little village, and so we'd help them, get water and food, and we built a house for this family, like all these different things. It's crazy because, we have like, oh, here's some water.
I know.
They would hike up 7 miles up this dirt hill at like the crack of dawn with this little jug, and they essentially they dig a hole in the ground. It's like this muddy water, and they fill up their jug with this water from this like pond that they made, basically. Hike 7 miles back, and any of the water that spills out of this jug, like they don't have anymore. So it's such a scary, like, 7 miles back, and that's the water they have for the day. So for cooking, showering, all of it, water, like, it's so crazy.
How big was the jug? Like a
Like that
gallon, you
big?
think, or like 3 gallons, or?
Probably, I don't know, 2.5 gallons. It's not much.
I'm so I try to drink like at least a gallon
I
and a
know,
half of water,
right?
of clean,
It's crazy.
purified
Then
water.
you shower, and you go to the bathroom, and like all these things.
We're
It's
so
wild.
fortunate.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that really makes you humble and in
yeah.
perspective. Like going to some third world situations. Like I've
Yes.
been to some third world spots in South America that it was very humbling to go into like some of those favelas, which wasn't the safest thing to do. But
No.
me and a couple stupid friends were super into photography and going in there and like taking
Yeah.
some photos and just meeting people. And then
Mhm.
some of the stuff that you see is just very,
It's
very
crazy.
humbling, right?
Crazy. And they're so happy. Like
Right.
the most joyful people to this day that I've ever met.
Yeah.
Like genuine joy. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think some of that is they don't have a whole lot of outside
No.
stress, right? Like they don't have a corporate boss that's breathing down their
Mhm.
neck, or they don't have a car payment.
Yeah.
They don't have a bank account that's running dry, and
Right.
then they haven't lost a bunch of money in the
It's
stock
very
market.
simple.
It's like we go and get water in the morning, and then we survive during the
Yeah.
day, right?
Essentially.
Wow.
It's crazy. Which it is simple, and I don't think we were created to know as much as we do, like of outside, devastations, and this happened, and this is bad, and this shooting happened, and all these things. So they don't they don't have that.
Right.
You know?
You're either genuine or you're not,
Yeah.
right? In their eyes.
Yeah.
So how excited are they when you're there and you're helping them? Is it like, are you in the way? Are they accepting?
Bum rushed with these people. Like,
Really?
when we would go there, they made us take off all our jewelry, no hair tie, like nothing, because you get so many people, like little kids, families, all these people, like literally running to you to give you hugs and to, you know, they don't see white people ever.
But if you had a possession like that or something, you
oh, they'll take it. I had a hair tie on. I didn't mean to, and they took it. And the guy's like, I'm keeping this hair tie. Like,
really?
I want this. And I was like, okay,
You can have it.
Go ahead. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's crazy. They're so grateful just to have you there. And honestly, you're sort of like a specimen to them.
Sure.
Like, you get looked at different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So had they had any interaction with people?
I don't
with this,
think so.
Like outside
They would touch
of their
my
own
hair,
community?
like, I can't believe your hair feels this way. Like,
Really?
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's wild. You know, Justin, do you know who Justin Wren is? He's
I don't know.
He's a former UFC vet. And
Okay.
I think he fought, or maybe he only fought in Bellator. Can you look that up, Gabby? I know he's a Bellator fighter. Incredible guy. I think his name is Big Pygmy on Instagram. Let's make sure. But he started a foundation and he does similar like mission work. And I think his foundation is Fight for Forgotten or Fight for the Forgotten.
Okay.
And he's bringing clean water to like some of these villages and
Oh,
stuff. So
they
they're
need
like
it
going in and
so
drilling
bad.
wells and stuff. But he got super sick. He got some sort of crazy parasite
Shoot.
that basically like pretty much ended his fight career.
Oh my god.
But he's so passionate about this. He's been back multiple
I
times.
tell people all the
and-
time, I'd go back in a heartbeat.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, even after everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'd go back
That's amazing.
like that. It's so cool. Like, I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
What-
What's his name?
Justin Wren.
R-E-N?
Yeah, I believe so. Did you try Big Pygmy?
Yeah, I tried big. Oops.
Or maybe type in Fight for the Forgotten too. He's probably on that. But yeah, he's an amazing person. You should definitely connect with him, especially with, you know,
Is it this one?
your culture and your family and all that sort of
absolutely.
stuff. And you guys might be able to do something together. But he is
Yeah.
just an incredible human. He's been on Rogan several times, and that's actually
Okay.
where I kind of figured out about sorry, it's WREN.
And then he has this one.
Yeah, so Fight for the Forgotten is his foundation. Amazing foundation.
Oh, cool.
And he's just doing incredible work. And sometimes it's just as simple as like you said, they had one cracked jug, right? So like giving
Yes.
them a water bottle that has like a cap on it or something
Yeah.
that's easier to carry.
That was
or
a big deal. None of them
backpack
had
or-
caps, and so we would go and hike with them and get this water, and this water would fall out, and you'd feel terrible. Like, I have water, you
Mhm.
don't, and I'm spilling your water, you know?
Mm.
Yeah. Caps are a big deal.
So yeah, I guess that's a little strange, right? Because you guys obviously have water and food and it's
Mhm.
provided. Where are you guys staying? Is it like a camping type trip or
So their elementary school, they basically like converted a couple, I don't know if they were classrooms or what, for us to essentially sleep in. They would give us a big jug every couple days, and that would be our jug of water. So they would clean it and it would be good water for us. But like even us, we'd brush our teeth and I would pour some water in this cup, get my toothbrush wet, brush my teeth, spit the water back in the cup and keep that water for the next day, because they don't have a ton to give to us either, you know?
Right.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long were you there?
I was only there for 2 weeks, which is not long for a trip like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how big was the group that you went with?
Gosh, I'd say probably 15 students, 20 students. I don't know.
So
Yeah.
all of similar age, right? How old were you
Yep.
when you did this?
Yep. I was 15. I was the youngest on the trip. So they take freshmen to seniors through high school. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And what's it like traveling in there? I mean, obviously you have to fly into
it's
some
scary.
place, and
It's
then
scary.
are you guys on a bus or something and going to this?
Yeah. So I don't know exactly where we flew in, but the last airport to like finally get to Africa is scary. All these security guards, like everything, they don't usually have people like us flying into their country. So they sort of, look you up and down like, what are you doing here? But from the airport, we took a bus and drove, I don't know, a couple hours to their village essentially. And that's kind of how we got around. But we walked everywhere. So, yeah.
And are they bringing in anything to these people, like any sort of food or dried goods?
We weren't allowed.
Really?
Which is crazy. Like we would have some meetings before the trip to answer questions, and this is how it's going to look and different things. And,
so you're just there to basically help them gather
Yeah.
and provide for their family.
pretty much. Yeah. This kid raises his hand and he's like, can I bring some candy to these kids? And they said, no, you can't bring anything,
Really?
nothing to them. Yeah.
And what is the purpose of that? Is it, I mean, it's almost
It's safety.
like, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And then also at the same time, I mean, like people like that, then they might rely on that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like or expect it to come and then.
Yes. They, like even when that kid took my hair tie, he, I said, you can have it. And he's like, well, you're from America. Like you have everything. So I can take your hair tie. And I wasn't arguing with him. I said, go ahead, take it. But, they take it as offense almost that, you have that and I don't.
So
I'm
they
going to
know
take
how
that
well
from you. They know how well off we are. So you would feel it sometimes.
Is there a sense of guilt, like a little
Yeah.
bit, like being there?
Yeah.
And then I'm sure it really puts it in perspective when you come home and you're going
Oh,
to like the
yeah.
grocery store. I know it did for me, like,
Yes.
or just like what people think are a big problem, right? Like if somebody's at Starbucks and they're bitching about how
I know.
their latte wasn't made
Right.
correctly, or they grabbed the wrong cup, or their
Yes.
whatever.
Yes.
The lid wasn't put on properly.
Mhm.
It's like,
I know. The first
That's-
shower I took when I got home, I cried the entire shower because I'm like, we are so lucky to have the shower, and I feel so guilty for being in the shower right now. Like, this is crazy. So,
yeah, and it's crazy. I think that this is why people like Elon Musk and them take so much heat for some of the stuff that they're doing.
Yes.
It's like, with some of that money, we could be doing,
so much with.
so much
I
to
know.
help people that are in this situation, right?
I
Like, I
know.
think that that's a human right, that everybody should have at least food and water, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
At
I
least
mean, this
clean
this,
water to drink.
Right. I'm
Yeah.
like, you guys are digging literally from the dirt
Yeah.
to get water and drinking it. Like, that is how. That's so crazy, you know? Yeah.
No, that's very humbling. That's cool that you
It
got
is
to do
humbling.
that. And
It is so cool.
so, do you plan on going back for sure, or is it just kind of
So,
like
I
up in the
actually wrecked this trip
okay?
because of malaria.
Mhm.
The church would go back every year.
Oh,
And then once I went,
you ruined it for everybody.
yeah, I really did. They're like,
Wow.
yeah, no more. It's not safe. The pastor's son the year before me got malaria too. Same deal. And then I went the next year, I got it, and they said no more.
That's so crazy because mosquitoes are literally unavoidable.
I know.
It doesn't matter what kind of net you
I
have.
know.
Or
They
what
had
you're
like
wearing.
mosquito nets around our beds. I'm like, this is pointless. Like,
Right.
no.
Yeah, just getting
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty wild.
It is wild.
I've been on a few hunt trips and stuff, and I'm sure your dad could tell you some of these stories up in Alaska and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like you get into some of those rural areas and the mosquitoes are so bad. You know, you put all these nasty chemicals on you to keep
Yes.
them off, but like they'll like hover around your mouth because the chemicals
know.
aren't in your mouth. So they're like trying to fly into your mouth and just
Ugh.
it's
The crazy thing is the entire trip, I didn't see one mosquito.
really.
Not one.
So it wasn't like they were just
No.
everywhere.
I didn't see one. So I didn't even when I started getting sick, I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah.
I didn't see one bug.
So what do you have to do to keep track of your malaria? Do you have to take a blood test every certain amount of months, or is it just
No,
like
it'll
if you
be in
start
me
feeling
forever.
bad,
So,
okay, then you need to seek medical help.
yeah. I mean, I know pretty instantly, like the difference between I have a cold or flu or whatever, and no, I've got malaria. So
are people there? I mean, they're probably dying of malaria on a pretty regular basis, right?
all the time. They don't have medical help like we do. The
Yeah.
crazy thing, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know, but there's something with the people who live there. Something in their body makes it that malaria to them is equivalent to just the flu for us. So it doesn't have as big of effect, or as big of an effect
Probably
on them.
just herd immunity, right?
Something.
Like we're seeing that
There's
with
something
COVID
in their blood, I forget what it's called, that they're like born with that we don't have.
Sure.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's pretty wild, like some of the vaccines and stuff that you have to take just to travel out of the country and get stamped, right? Like I figured that out at a young age when I was rock and roll touring. I was like, what? I got to go to the doctor and get all these shots?
It's
like
crazy.
Yeah, and they're like, no, because it's a big deal. Like you could get
Yes.
malaria or whatever, you know?
Yes.
So, or measles, all kinds of different stuff. Like,
So I get called the $1 million baby though, because I'm a medical mystery all the time.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so back to running. You decided during COVID, and I think a lot of people changed. I mean, the podcast was kind of really rocket shipped. Like we had the idea pre-COVID.
Okay.
Or I had the idea pre-COVID to start a podcast. And
Yeah.
it was going to be something totally different. And COVID came along. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do my second idea. This was going to be originally going to be my second podcast. So like I was going to have multiple, but this was going to be the second one to like kind of help raise awareness on, preserving public lands and just, we've seen such an influx here in Colorado and people using public lands. And I've seen it firsthand the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
So that was like kind of the initial intention or start of it. And I was like, well, I'll just start this. I was kind of starting two simultaneously. And this just kind of took over because of COVID, and it spurred into like all kinds of stuff kind of happening. And we started talking to guests like right around the pandemic. Like we had a bunch of guests scheduled pre-pandemic, and then the pandemic came along. Like Colorado Parks and Wildlife was supposed to be our very first episode.
Oh, really?
And they were like, we can't let anybody go anywhere. And then I had like Alpine Rescue was set up for number 2. So it was totally going to go a different way. And I had the studio all built and everything. So I was like, well, shit, what do I do now? Right. So then we just started talking about the pandemic to like survival experts. And then your dad was episode 4.
Yeah.
Mark Montoya. And then it just turned into this whole thing where we're like, we're still hyper focused on that, but like we're also showcasing people and just hearing stories, and it's kind of more my own greed now.
Right.
It's interesting people that I want to talk to and learn about their experiences and stuff too, which has been super cool.
So is this just the one now? You don't have the other one anymore?
Well, I do have another one. It's called Show Ready. It's pretty stagnant right now. There's nothing serious about it. It's so my background is rock and roll touring. And over the years, I know so many rock stars and roadies that are even crazier than the rock stars, honestly. Like these guys have been around for years, living on tour buses and just really good people that they have kind of that military or firefighter camaraderie, right? Like there's a lot of practical joking, but also you're in the trenches, you're working with these people 20 hours a day, like it's hard work. Everybody thinks that it's like you're backstage doing crazy drugs and there's women everywhere and Jack Daniels. That's not really the case. Like it's pretty well organized, fast deployment, fast teardown, long days, sleep deprived. So like if you don't have some sort of humor involved, you'll
never make it.
You won't. Sometimes it's not even how good you are at your job. It's how well you get along with people, right? And I think that that's why fire departments and stuff kind of do some of these psychological tests is like, can you fit in with this group of like alpha type individuals and there's females in there too. Like, it's crazy.
Which is so cool.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And they're the coolest people, but there's no filters.
Yes.
Like, there's no politics. There's no filters. You can pretty much do whatever you want as long as you show up on time.
Right.
And your job gets done. Nobody says anything, and you can be as loud as you want. You can say, so they're just the cool, and they're characters, right?
Yeah.
Like, and each guy kind of has a creative side, or like almost they have a weird thing. It's kind of like they're OCD, right? Because you have to be a little bit OCD to do that job, right? You have to be very organized, because you'll be in one city one night, and if everything isn't put away meticulously the same way, and you're talking about semi-loads of equipment, right? Like, when I was on Madonna, it was like 40 trucks, 40 semi-loads.
Oh, my gosh.
And that was just our
For
portion
one
of
show.
the production. There was a whole nother 40 trucks that showed up before us. So there was like multiple crews.
You would never guess.
Yeah. And so you're responsible for all the stuff, and if it's not meticulously put in the same spot at the end of the night at 2 a.m., you're going to a city the next morning. If you can't find it, it might add hours to the day and just totally screw up the whole entire.
Oh my gosh.
It's just a ripple effect, right? Like, it slows.
You have to be
everybody
super
down.
anal.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what
I'm
we call
so
it.
anal.
I was trying to be like politically correct,
Oh, no.
OCD, but yeah, no, you have to be super anal, and you're dealing with local crews in whatever city you're going. So you might be going into Madison Square Garden in New York City, and those guys will give you a ration of shit. I mean, it's the funnest industry to work in my opinion.
So
like,
cool.
I loved it up until I had kids, and
Yeah.
that changed everything, right? Because I was like, okay, I don't want to be on the road anymore. But yeah, no, it's super cool. So
That's so cool.
that original podcast was just going to be, I haven't done a ton of downtime. What I'm
Okay.
doing now, it'd be an excuse to catch up with old friends.
Yeah.
They have crazy stories of like when they were working for Ozzy and they were doing like a Christmas special and like just,
So
like
cool.
all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So like to try to get some of those stories archived, I think was more, because none of these guys write books. They don't care about that. They don't care about the limelight. Some of them have had careers with everybody from like, the start of ZZ Top up until Madonna or whatever, right? And just interesting people, right?
Yeah.
And they all kind of have these like little niche things, it's actually how I've met a lot of the special operator guys that have been on this podcast, is I've spent hours with them outside of an artist dressing room or something where it's just me and them, because I was a stage manager
What a
or
cool
heavily
job.
integrated with
This is
them.
crazy.
So we just form all these friendships, and then each tour would be some different personnel. Sometimes it was the same group of people, but for the most part, you see those people, and they're friendships that are unique like no others, because you've suffered so much together.
Yes.
You can literally not see somebody for 10 years, and you pick up like you
That's
didn't.
how the fighters are.
You haven't missed a beat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They all
same
suffer with
sort of
each
thing.
other. So, yeah.
100%. Yeah, no, it's a definite culture, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's really unusual, especially in today's day and age.
Most
right?
people don't get
Because-
what they do. So
No.
it's like a group of, hey, you get me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about, and that's why most of my guests come from that world, right?
Yes.
Like they're fighters, or they're former military, or they're first responders, because of all the stuff that they've experienced. Being genuine is the biggest thing in all of that, and that's
Yeah.
the same with roadies too. Like you can see through somebody that lies like right away, right?
Yes.
Like it's super simple for me to tell if somebody's bullshitting me, basically, right? So I love the transparency, and you know what you're getting, right? Like that's why those conversations are so genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm there all the time. Because everyone's like-minded, and you don't find people like that.
They're not afraid
on
to
the
tell
road,
you like what they think either.
Yes.
Like, they don't
What
have
you
to
need.
agree
I
with
need
you.
that. I'm like, yeah, be honest with me.
Yeah,
Yes.
we don't need a bunch of yes people, you
Yeah.
know, like, or just tell me what I want to hear. Like,
Right.
Because we run into people like that. And that's one reason why, like, I called you before. I'm like, I just need to get a feel for somebody before I actually invite
I'm
them
sure.
in here. Because we have all kinds of people that hit us up. And it's a hard thing to balance. And
Yes.
sometimes we get duped, you know? But they better be prepared, because
Yeah,
they're going to
right?
get called out on it. I got all these people on my back, like, like all the fighters down there at Factory X and stuff. And I actually, it's kind of funny because we do so much with the military, and there's so much stolen valor in that space, and we get hit up by a lot of the guys that reach out to us to come on the podcast. When I've checked up on them or with some of my friends, they're like, "Oh no, that dude's not credible." Or,
really?
Yeah. Or we've never heard of him, or like that
Oh my
sort of thing. So it's
gosh.
kind of wild. Like they want to come on and tell their story, but it's like a lot of times I'm introduced by like a third person or something like that, like for the real ones, right? Yeah. Or I have to physically reach out to them.
Right.
So, but it's kind of the same thing with fighters. Like I ran into your dad at an archery shop.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason we had that connection,
Yeah.
I thought it was so cool. I knew exactly who he was just because he's in a fighter's corner like almost every weekend, right?
Yeah.
And we hit it off really well, and I was like, he'd be perfect to have on because I wanted to show some of that conservation. And man, did I luck out.
Right?
Because we forged a friendship.
Yeah,
here,
which is so cool.
Yeah,
So
very
cool.
unique.
Yeah.
And now I feel like, not that I'm integrated in any part or I have any sort of status with Factory X, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I'm a part of that little
You are,
community a little bit,
yeah.
right? Because
It's
we've
a
had
cool
so many of
community.
those guys in. Now your dad, the interactions that I have with
like-minded.
your mom and brother and everybody on Instagram, just a cool group of people. So highly
One you
encourage.
don't find often either.
100%.
Yeah.
So I encourage, anybody that's listening to this, go out, follow these people. You guys are doing amazing stuff.
Thank you.
If you have any interest in pursuing martial arts in any sort of
Check us
form or
out.
fashion, go in and check it out. It's one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my life was
Oh, that's so
being
cool.
on a mat. It's very humbling, just
It
like
is
going to
humbling.
Africa or something like that.
Yeah.
And
It is
we dove
humbling.
into a lot of that during your dad's episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sorry. So back to, there's another podcast out there. It's called Show Ready.
Okay.
And it's a bunch of drunk roadies or whatever, just talking sports or whatever comes up, right? So there's no valued
No filter.
information there. You're not going to hear an inspiring story.
Yes.
Like, if you want to listen to some banter, there's a few episodes out there, and we're trying to keep it going. It's just
That's awesome.
all these guys had a lot of career changes and stuff during the pandemic because that was one thing that was
so many people
completely shut
changed
down.
their path in COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, so circling back to that and you starting to run, so you decided, okay, I want to run a marathon was the first goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
When did you decide? Because this is a major step to be like, okay, I'm going to run a marathon. Because I don't know how many Americans probably run a marathon on average, like
1%.
There's probably not that many.
Yeah.
But
It's quite literally 1%.
Is it really?
Yes.
Wow.
So I
That's
can't
incredible.
imagine, ultras.
I thought marathons were more popular,
You think they
They're
are, and they're not.
but I guess per capita, it's just
Uh-huh.
not. Well, I can tell you, I have no desire to run a marathon.
No? None?
So I'm part of like that 99% on that side, right? Like I have some other fitness goals.
It's a big feat.
It is a big feat.
big undertaking. Yeah.
And I can see the suffering. Like right now I'm driving myself through something. Have you ever heard of the body armor workout?
I haven't. I was going to ask because I heard you talking about it with
Okay.
with Mark and
Yeah.
I'm like,
So
what is he talking about?
it's one of my goals, but how fast would you run a marathon, say?
My fastest is 5:26.
Okay, so 5 hours and 26 minutes.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is nowhere near that. And then I'm sure that you're tracking like your heart rate and all that sort of stuff over that amount
I
of
actually
time.
don't.
Really?
I don't. I again, I'm super anal, and if I track things like that, I get too anal, and
Okay.
it takes away the joy of.
So
of
not
this.
even just like
So
to
I
look at it afterwards?
no.
or- Really?
I run with a Garmin literally for miles and pace. That's it. That's it.
Because I have a Garmin as well, and I go
Okay.
back and so this is a military workout that was founded by a Navy SEAL.
Mm.
They were in Afghanistan or Iraq, one of those two, and they were deployed. And they didn't have a way to lift weights or to work out. So all they had was their body armor.
Yeah.
and it's actually Lieutenant Michael Murphy. I don't know if you've seen the movie Lone Survivor. So I knew some of those guys that knew him firsthand and in that community and stuff. And these guys are just complete savages in life.
Yeah.
Business. I mean, the mindset that they have, they either go two directions. They turn into total pieces of crap that feel sorry for themselves.
Yes.
I wouldn't say that. That's the wrong way to say that. They turn into like they feel sorry for themselves and everybody owes them something. Or they turn into the most humble people in the world. And I've kind of seen the extreme on both sides.
Yeah.
And I don't think there is a middle ground. And I'm speaking for them. So I have no clout. Like, I have no veteran experience. And the stuff that they've been through, I don't blame any of those guys that do feel sorry for themselves.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but most of them are just incredible people. They have that roadie mindset or that sort of, fighter mindset, definite fighter mindset. And they just crush it in life in general, like business, family. They can balance it all. They can do it all. They can stay fit. It's just kind of overcoming. Well, number one, discipline, I think, is huge.
Yeah.
But then overcoming adversity, no matter what it is, right? Like there's no question, right? They're all in.
Yeah. You have to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that kind of drew me to this workout, right? I was like, I know these guys and how savage they actually are. And I appreciate that. And I'm patriotic, so I appreciate their service.
Yeah.
And so this workout was kind of brought to light after him being killed in Afghanistan on Operation Red Wing. I'm totally screwing this up. Gabby, you might have to look this up. Operation Red Wing, I think, was it. And there was like 40 Navy SEALs that lost their lives trying to rescue these four guys. Marcus Luttrell was the only survivor of the four guys that were actually on the ground.
Yeah.
And the only reason that he really survived is Lieutenant Michael Murphy sacrificed himself on top to get to a satellite service with a sat phone to put in a call so he could call in coordinates.
Crazy.
Right?
Gosh.
Yeah. So but anyways, this was his workout. So in honor of him, a bunch of people from the military community, a bunch of people from the CrossFit community has adopted this workout because there's some former SEALs like Josh Bridges and those guys that are CrossFitters. The workout is not about, I mean, some people try to set a personal record. There's guys out there that have tried to set world records at it, but it's not really about that. It's more about like, you're going to suffer for however long this takes.
Yes.
And you're doing this for a bigger purpose rather than, so I like that. So when I'm sitting there and my inner bitch comes out and I'm start going like, fuck, I can't do another push up or I can't do another squat or it's
a mind game.
I can't do another pull up. I think about him and what he went through, or I think about, this sounds a little screwed up, but I'm like, what if I had to run to go save my daughter?
Exactly.
Or what if
you
I had
start
to
thinking some crazy things when you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like,
that helps push me to that next level.
Yes.
But anyways, the workout is, so starts with a mile run.
Okay.
As fast as you can, obviously, because for me, it's all about trying to get within a certain time frame, right? Because that's how I'm going to track my progress. But to complete it, so I do this every Sunday. I do it Sunday morning. I don't go to church or anything. This is kind of my church or my time.
Yeah.
I either go out and do something in the outdoors, but lately I've been doing this because this is a goal, and I've said it on here publicly, so now I'm working towards that. But it's a mile run, and then it's 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and then you finish with a mile run.
Oh, the Murph.
Yeah, you're supposed to do it in body armor, so a 25-pound vest. I'm not doing that right now. I'm working my way up to that, but yeah, it's definitely
so
humbling.
Once a week.
Well, I'm actually kind of doing 2 a week. Like I'll do one like kind of loosely, and then every day I do one part of it. So I'll either do some push-ups depending on because I went back to jiu-jitsu and I've injured myself too.
Oh.
So I had
Jiu-jitsu
AC.
does that. I'm like, that's why I can't train anymore.
So I'm like, I don't know if it's overuse or me just getting old or whatever. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to like kind of balance it a little bit so I don't go too crazy, because once I get all in on something, much like you, I think that I get obsessed with it a little
Yes.
bit, right?
Like
And,
to a
fault.
sickening point. Yeah.
So each day I try to do something to better myself at that. But every
Okay.
Sunday, without question, no matter where I'm at, and I'll change it up. Like my kid played in the state chess tournament a couple weeks ago, and I could have done it there, but I was like, I'm not going to be that dad doing,
Right.
grunting and groaning, and
Right.
trying to do 100 pull-ups and like
Yeah, no.
on something outside at the fairgrounds or wherever we were at. So I just did it on that Friday. So my
Okay.
goal is to like do one a week, but I
Yeah.
call it Suicide Sundays or Suffering Sundays.
That's crazy.
And I'll fit it into my Sunday somewhere, right? Like,
I've literally done the Murph probably
Have you?
3, maybe 4 times
so
in
you
my
know what
lifetime.
I'm talking about. Yeah.
And I'm, oh my God. No, I hate it.
So I always train around bow hunting is my life, right?
Okay.
Like that's what I enjoy to do.
You have to
And-
be in shape for that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that this is the best workout that correlates with being agile, strong, being able to run a mile, I think is super
I'll go
important.
run for a couple hours, but not that.
Yeah. And running is the worst part of it for me. Out of all that
Really?
stuff, I don't mind the pull-ups, I don't mind the push-ups, I don't mind suffering with the squats. Kind of sucks, just because I've never liked squatting. But who does like leg day?
Right.
If you do.
Yeah, no.
Are you? Yeah. Well, you're a ballerina.
I'm a dancer.
Yeah,
Gabby's
right?
waving her arm back.
Every single day.
Yeah.
I
Every day
love
is leg day. Right?
Every day is leg day.
Yeah, no, I didn't think about it that way. But it's been cool. It's been awesome for me. And it's just like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to go compete anywhere or anything. It's more about that.
It's a personal goal.
Yeah, it's a personal goal. And it's also,
You need those.
it's a way for me to kind of relate to maybe some of the sacrifice that's happened for what we have too, because that's what
awesome.
gets me through the workout.
Yeah.
So
That's so cool.
that's what I love about guys like Josh Bridges, because when they do it religiously. I think they do it on Veterans Day is a big deal. Like everybody goes and does a Murph.
Yes.
And that's kind of where I first started it. And I was
Okay.
like, I just want to do this once a week. So now I'm trying to build myself up to like, I'd love to do it in under an hour.
There's
goal.
a guy on TikTok, and he has done a Murph a day. He wants to do it for a whole year, every day.
Holy shit, that's
I don't know where he's at, 200 something days in, because he started middle of, last year.
Do you know his name by chance?
I don't. I just saw it as I was scrolling, but
Okay. That's
Crazy.
cool. I wanted to give him a shout out because
I'm like, dude,
I'd like to follow him too. just to see.
365 days. That's crazy.
That's wild. But I could see how you could get there, because I was thinking
yeah.
like, now that I'm doing one every Sunday, it's like,
He's like, these are no big deal now.
The
Like, I
first-
can just bang it out,
right.
which is crazy. Like,
Well, and it's just like, you look at guys like Cameron Haynes
Yes.
that run a marathon a day. It's like once you get in that,
your body
and
adapts.
I never have, right? And I
Yeah.
love his philosophy. Is like, how do you run a marathon? 1 mile at a time, right? How do you run a mile? One step
No,
at a
for
time,
real.
or one stride at a time,
Yeah.
whatever it is. So my whole thing with it is just start to finish, trying not to stop, right? Like, obviously you got to take some breathers in there,
Yeah.
but especially for me, like, it was really hard. I just recently went through drastic weight loss and all
Okay.
kinds of stuff, and I kind of got out of shape. And I would always get in shape in the summer for elk hunting season, but
Yeah.
it's a different type of shape. Like, I
Yes.
was just like doing a lot of hiking and carrying a lot of weight, and like farm strength, like
Strong.
yeah, strong. But this is a little bit different. This is more cardio
Yes.
based, right? Because
Yeah.
my heart rate, so I do track it, and I track it I hit the cardio app on the Garmin watch for a workout. And then I think it's a lap button.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So I just hit a lap button just so I can keep track of my intervals and how fast I ran my mile. Am I improving or am I getting
Yes.
slower?
Right.
'Cause that
Right.
happens
Sometimes
sometimes.
it happens.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now that I've done one a week, I'm starting to where I'm like, I think I could do 2 of these a week, right?
Yes.
And the first 3 sucked, right? Like I couldn't walk the next day. I was having trouble going up and down the stairs. Like, oh God, this sucks.
Right.
And then I'm also trying to do more intensity, you know? So
yeah, your body adapts. Like even
really
with training for Leadville, people are like, how are you doing this? I'm like, because your body adapts to what it's doing. Like,
right.
Your body knows what
Yeah.
you're trying to do. Like,
No, it's pretty remarkable because I've only been doing this about, I think, religiously 2 months now.
Okay.
Where I at least did one a week.
yeah.
And then I'm pretty much doing something each day. I'm either running a mile. I'm trying to run at least 7 miles a week.
Yeah.
Minimum. So I have to get a mile a day, right?
Yes.
But sometimes I'll bank a little bit more and
Oh, yeah.
get a couple miles in.
Right.
And then I've been doing, I ran into Tabatas to kind of help with that. Have you ever done a Tabata
Oh, I
workout?
haven't, but I've heard of them.
Super awesome. So
My mom has a Peloton, and she'll do the Tabata Pelotons. Like, I don't know.
it's insane. It's helping me improve my mile time, right? Because
Yeah.
I think with ultra or marathon running, like how do you pace yourself? Like that was one of my questions for you. Like, because one thing that I'm trying to do, and I haven't sought out any help, and I'm surrounded by all these savages, right? Like Coach Mark, Coach Eric Tilley down at Landau.
yeah.
Like I could ask these guys, but I'm like trying to get like
yes.
my legs under me a little bit, and I should just go ask for help, right? You're
Yeah.
stupid for not asking.
Go.
But what I want to do is improve my mile time, so so I can chip away at that. So one of my first things is just like, well, I got to improve my cardio, right? Like the better cardio I have, the faster I can run at a faster pace.
Yeah.
So how do you gauge for that when you're running a marathon? Are you trying to keep a certain pace or a certain mile or?
So, as far as pacing goes, there is a pace. I don't want to bunk. That's my biggest thing, is I don't want to like go out super fast and be like, oh dang, I feel so good, and then, mile 17, 18 comes and I'm like, I don't think I can finish this. So you have to pace it so you can finish. But I like ultras because you can go slower. I'm not a super fast runner. So I think people are always like, oh, you run so fast. I'm like, no, I don't. Like, I actually don't run super fast. But there is pacing, like marathon wise. You have to pace it or I'll bonk. My first marathon, I went out so fast. And by the halfway point, I was in tears. Like, I don't think I can finish this. There's no way. So now I do pace it. I go uber slow in the beginning. And that saves me enough energy to keep that pace all the way through.
Okay.
Which ends up being faster anyways. Like, it sucks because when you start, you start a marathon, you start a long run, you're like, dude, we're going so slow. Like,
Right.
I can go so much faster than this, but mile, 15, 16, 17, you're thanking God. Thank you that I went so slow, So you have to pace it.
Well, it's kind of the same thing if you're trying to run a super fast mile. It's like you almost want to run the back half of it as faster as you can.
Yes.
Right? So that's kind of what I'm working at. But I started to where I'm running Tabatas now on the fucking whatever the assault runner thing is, the self-propelled treadmill.
The what is it called?
That thing's dangerous.
A woodway or no,
the one I'm using is an assault.
I know what you're talking
fitness.
about.
Yeah,
we have one of those
forget.
at the gym. I will not run on it.
Really?
No.
See, I was going on I hate the treadmill. I'd rather run outside, but it's been so icy up here. I feel like I can't improve my time because I'm so conscious about
Do
like
the elliptical.
slipping or something like that.
Yes.
The treadmill will bang on your knees and your joints and you're compressing.
Yeah, the
So,
treadmill is bad. I
Elliptical
use the
and the
treadmill during the
bike.
winter.
Okay, this assault runner doesn't give me that same sensation
Oh,
because
really?
it's curved
Oh,
Yes.
it's curved.
and it's self-propelled. So like you really have to.
It's essentially like running outside. You're propelling yourself outside. You're propelling yourself on this
I
treadmill.
love it now. I
Yeah.
will not get on a treadmill.
Yeah.
I will run on
A normal treadmill is propelling you. You're just keeping up with it.
Oh my God, you
That's
feel like a dog on a leash or something.
That's
you know?
why
It's
your
just
knees
like,
hurt so bad. I the longest I've done on a treadmill is 18 miles,
That's brutal.
and it was brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm a big guy too, so I feel like I'm gonna break the damn thing. Like it's
Yeah.
just like
Right.
feel like a tire with a flat
Yes,
spot or a
right.
wheel or something, you know? It's like, oh my God, this is just
My
brutal.
knees are sad and sorry at this point anyways, so it doesn't really matter where I run.
The mind fuck with it too.
yeah,
You know?
it's so mental.
And
It's
the
so
other-
boring.
the other issue is I don't have a treadmill at home because I
Okay.
hate them. I'm like, why would I spend money on this
Yeah.
piece of crap?
Yeah.
So I go to a gym, and
Okay.
there's only like 3 treadmills. It's a small mountain gym up here.
Yes.
So it's like there's 3
They're always
treadmills.
taken.
They're always taken. And
Yes.
it's always like these people that are just like walking on it. I'm
Right.
like,
You can walk outside.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that nobody runs on that fucking
Oh,
Airdyne.
no.
And I've been
No.
watching, like Dustin Jacoby's Instagram or something. Those guys are down there running 20 miles an hour
Yes,
on this
it's
fucking
crazy.
thing. And I saw Mark running on it, so that was another thing. I was like,
I know. I'm like, you're going to slip and fall and hurt your incisions. What are you doing? Go outside. Like,
and those things take a little bit to figure out, but I love it now. I won't run on anything else.
I'm going to have to try it out. I actually haven't tried them. I just hear you feel like you're sprinting.
It takes a little bit to get used to,
Yeah.
because it feels like you get going too fast, and you're like,
Yes.
shit, I'm
How
going
do
to go
you,
right off
how
the
do you
back.
like,
But as soon as you stop running,
yeah.
and it's got these little, the side step off things, so
Right.
that's the biggest thing.
Right.
But man, from a running standpoint, like if you want to sprint,
Yeah.
so I've been doing Tabatas on that where I'll sprint for as
Okay.
fast and as hard as I can.
Oh, that's a good treadmill.
And
for
those
it.
are my fastest miles. So
I'm sure.
I'm thinking about incorporating that into my Murph, is just do 10 seconds of rest, like at a walking pace, and then sprint because I knock like a minute off my mile.
Yeah.
doing
That's
it
how
that
I
way.
train too. You get your heart rate up like a lot, like 30 seconds or something to a minute. Get your heart rate up really high, and then like walk it out for 30 seconds. So it's like getting your heart rate up really fast and then coming back down really fast, coming back down. And it's for the physical therapy, and like, I mean, for dancers, we're on stage sometimes for 2 hours, and then you have your like minute or two variation, and then you go off, and then now you got to go do the core part, and I got to go do this. So it's like
Right.
for hours you're just up and down, heart rate going crazy. So that's a great way to train, actually.
Yeah, I'm doing 10 and 20 seconds, so 10 seconds of rest, so your heart rate really doesn't drop. I mean, it drops off pretty drastically, but not that much. And then it is brutal, man. I am like, you can wring out my shirt when I'm done.
It is.
After
Running fast is
15
hard.
minutes, yeah.
Yeah. My paces have gotten faster in the last few months, and I honestly think it's from eating more.
Really?
Yeah.
Because, see, I work out fasted a lot of the times, too.
Okay.
Sometimes if I'm going into, like, on those Suicide Sundays, I'll eat some sort of breakfast, but, like, I don't want to throw up at the gym.
Yeah. No, see, okay,
Yeah.
I have to eat before I run. Like,
Yeah,
that's one of the
that
first
makes
things I do
sense.
in the morning is eat breakfast.
Yeah.
I wake up starving. Part of it is that I run so much. Like, I'm burning so much that I can't get enough. But I've been eating more because I've been running more, and my miles have been faster, like significantly.
Just
so,
because you have the fuel for it.
yes. I don't think I realized, like, it was not purposeful, but I don't think I realized how little I was actually eating. Like, I thought I was I'm eating well, and no, I'm actually not eating enough at all. Like,
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
So
you're really watching your calorie intake,
mhm.
and then are you watching it like macro specific too? Like,
No, I'm so anal. If I get real into it, I don't.
it can be detrimental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No,
don't
I
want an
understand
eating
that.
disorder. I'm a girl. I'm an athlete. I'm like, no.
Yeah, and that's
I get scared
It's so
for that.
hard to balance too.
It's
you
hard to
know?
balance,
Like,
so-
especially if you want to have any sort of life outside of being an athlete, right?
I know. So
Yeah.
again, I'm anal. I would get way too deep in that, and
Yeah.
I think it would spiral. So
Yeah, no, that's a good outlook. I'm glad
yeah,
that you're conscious enough to
you have
realize that.
to be balance, intuitive eating.
You know, I
know?
think there is some balance to it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think having some pleasures in your life,
You
like
have to.
it's not an excuse to go out and eat a pint of
Right.
chocolate chip ice cream,
Right.
right? But like every once in a while,
yes,
that's okay, right?
Yes.
Like, especially if you're sharing a moment with your kids or a
Right.
celebration,
Yeah,
you don't want to be the guy that's like, and I've done this, like, hey, let's go get ice cream, and you're not the guy getting ice cream. You know what I mean? Like, your kids are like, what's wrong with this guy?
yeah,
He's a psycho.
right. Part of it is that I credit a lot of it to my mom. Actually, she's, both my parents eat well, but I look up to her more than any. is the woman I look up to most in my life, and she has such a balanced relationship with food. So good. Eats well, but she'll have ice cream or like so good. So intuitive, so healthy, so balanced, and that's what I've seen.
So what's her hack? Is it like just have a little bit, or is it like don't or
she
enjoy
like she'll
it,
have
or?
dessert every night. Every single night.
So
but
she's
it's just a
talking about
little
intuitive
dessert.
eating.
Sure.
Just a little bit.
You
Like
listen to your body.
yeah,
Intuitive
she
eating,
just
you just
literally
listen.
listens to her body.
Always, especially for athletes, that's a really good point. Listen to your body. So
Yeah.
if your body says, I want to eat ice cream, just eat the ice cream, because what are you going to do? Eat the chips, then you're going to go eat an apple, then you're going to go eat chicken nuggets, and you're going to go, then you'll eat the ice cream. Just
It's a
listen to your
spiral.
body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just keeps
so
going.
I credit a lot of like how I am with food to her, because she's a
super
woman. I'm
important.
a woman. Like, I look up to her a lot. So she's
Yeah,
a
that's
good.
awesome to have good role models like
yeah,
that.
you need it, especially as an athlete and as a girl.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
It's a slippery slope if you get too far.
Yeah, I should watch that a little bit more, I think, because I have noticed that does affect my endurance.
Yes, it
When I'm
does,
doing
and I
the
had no
Murph and
idea.
stuff, like I'm like,
Yeah.
oh god, I'm dragging today.
Yes.
Or like last Sunday was just a suffering, and I
Yeah.
was like, well, I
What did I
probably
eat
didn't
today?
drink enough water.
Yes.
Or
Have I
whatever,
eaten
right?
enough is always and chances are I probably haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The huge thing that I've noticed too is I've been using these Element salt
Oh, I love
packets.
those.
Yeah, those are awesome. I
Yes.
discovered it. I was on the carnivore diet, and I discovered it through Dr. Sean Baker that was helping me out with it.
So cool.
And they're awesome. Like
Love
one of
those.
those in the middle of a workout, and
Oh
you're
yeah.
like ready to
I
go.
take sodium through a lot of my longer runs, and they're great. It's crazy the effect that electrolytes and salt has on you while running versus not taking anything.
Sure.
It's just salt, but it
And
helps.
I think watching hydration is huge too, because I think it correlates with hunger a lot and brain
people
function.
think they're
all
hungry
kinds of
and they're
stuff.
really just thirsty.
Yeah.
I'm like, did you drink water? No. Well, maybe you're not hungry. Like, yeah.
Do you listen to Andrew Huberman?
I don't.
I feel like I talk about him every podcast,
Do you?
but you should check him out. He's a neuroscientist that
Okay.
he's done all kinds of crazy episodes. Like he did one on alcohol specifically and how it affects the brain
Oh
and your
my
body
gosh.
and just all kinds of different stuff.
Oh, that'd
and it
be
made
interesting.
me. I haven't even listened to it because I'm scared I won't want to drink ever
Yeah,
again.
right?
Because I've taken a lot of his stuff and applied it to some of my everyday practices. And it's something as simple as like my use of caffeine now. So he was talking about like caffeine and how it correlates to dopamine.
Oh.
And the dopamine depletion during the day if you have it too early. So there's
Caffeine too early?
caffeine too early, yeah. So I started this thing where I'll get up in the morning, and you're supposed to get up right at sunrise, right before the sun actually comes out. And you'll notice, as your sunrise, there's always an orange and blue light.
Yeah.
And if you go outside just for 5 minutes and get that in your pupils, like don't look directly into the sun if the sun is there, but just natural light, no windows, no UV, no sunglasses or anything like that. It automatically starts this like dopamine dump for the day. Yeah.
Equivalent to caffeine.
Better than caffeine.
Oh,
Like
wow.
it wakes you up.
Okay.
And I think so many people like unnatural light is really bad for you. So like if you pick up your phone in the middle of the night to look at it, like it's really bad for your eyes because it's just this blast and you're confusing your brain. And
That's why people don't sleep. They're like, I didn't sleep well last night. I'm like, well, you sat on your phone for 4 hours before you went to bed. Like
100%. So
yeah.
there's a lot of that too. But just those little hacks like that are huge. And
crazy.
then I'll have caffeine later in the day and it doesn't affect me as much. But then another thing he was saying is like, don't get too reliant on too many dopamine factors going to the gym. Going to the gym is just one dopamine factor. So don't have something sugary or these pre and post workout things. Like I'm sure that there's some good stuff out there, but it's like some guys pound a cup of coffee and then they do a scoop of creatine,
Right.
and then they have a protein shake,
Right.
and then they go to the gym, and it's just like
Yes.
Dopamine hit after dopamine hit. He's
Yeah.
like, he's like, and then they're listening to heavy metal music, and that's a dopamine. Like, that is one thing I hate running so much. If I'm not doing it with headphones and some sort of hard rock.
Really?
Yeah. I don't want to run.
I don't listen to music.
You don't?
During marathons, I will not.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, caffeine is I'm a big energy drink gal, which is so terrible. I gotta try and
So what kind of
be done
energy
with
drinks
them.
are you drinking?
the Monster Zeros.
No.
So I'm like, oh, 0 calories, 0 sugar. It's fine. No.
I need to put you in touch with
No.
the Jocko Go people.
I'm actually,
Hey,
it's,
Gabby,
it's
would
crazy.
you do me a favor? Can you, in the cooler out there, I think that there's some cold Jocko Goes. I would like a watermelon one.
A watermelon?
Yeah. You want mango or watermelon, I think is what I got out there.
Oh, I don't care. I'll take either.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really bad. I did a 21-day fast of no energy drinks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, dang, I feel so good. And then the 21 days was up, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to celebrate. I went 21 days without one. I'm going to have one. And I can't. There something in those is, like, addictive.
Okay. I'm going to show you
It's
this because.
so crazy.
Okay. So try the watermelon. I'll take a water. Would you mind grabbing me a watermelon? Yeah.
Yeah. Was that one mango?
This one's mango. Yeah.
Where do you get these?
So these
So it's
are.
hard to see
This
in
is
the
one
dark.
of our sponsors, and this is
Oh.
not an ad.
Okay.
But just read the can real quick before you. It's only 10 calories. It's keto, paleo. It's just
yeah.
vitamins. There's amino acids in it.
Okay.
There's only 95
Oh,
milligrams
yeah.
of caffeine. But there's also nootropics in it as well, which are, it's like cognitive function type
Yeah,
stuff.
look at how short the ingredients list is.
Yeah.
It's bad. The problem is that I know it's bad, and I continue to drink them. That's
Right.
bad.
It's an addiction, right? Well, I'm
It is.
addicted to these.
It's sick, honestly.
I'm addicted
but,
to these. Straight
you
up.
know.
Like, yeah.
Ugh.
This is my third one of the day.
Wow, these are very
This is
good.
not an ad.
Where do you get these?
So
Can you get them at a gas station?
No.
No.
You
They're
can
local.
You can buy them online. We actually
are
have
really
a
good.
discount code
Okay.
that people can use. It's in the advertisements or in the show notes. They're
Yeah.
one of our main sponsors here. They do sell them at some grocery stores on the East Coast, like I think at Wawa's.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever been to a Wawa. It's like
No.
a staple. Gabby knows what I'm talking about.
Wawa's the greatest place you could ever go to.
Yeah.
I think they've just expanded to another state,
Really?
moving out here. I don't
I
know.
don't understand it. What is so special about it? Because
'Cause
like
it's everything.
I've been to them. I mean,
Wait, it's like
I
a
would go there to
Target?
buy Jocko Go. No, it's like
It's a convenience store, so
Oh.
it's like.
Have you been to a Buc-ee's?
No, and I hear the coolest
Okay.
things.
So
They're
Texas
great.
has like a Buc-ee's,
Buc-ee's?
I need to go.
but it's not
I hear
quite
cool
to that level.
things.
But they have like
Wawa's superior to
they
all
have all
levels.
kinds of like sandwiches and
Everything.
food. It's like a one-stop shop. You get your
Okay.
gas. It's a gas station,
Got it.
but it's like the next level. Like
Yeah.
you can get some decent food. They have all kinds of like kind of
Yeah.
off-brand.
It's like convenience store, but also like a hoagie shop. Like they have like a whole screen and you can tap in a whole order. I mean, they have everything from chicken nuggets to
What?
hoagies to
Oh
they
my
have like
gosh.
a Thanksgiving feast. They do
What?
everything. Milkshakes, smoothies.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. It's endless there and it's open all the time. So you're like
Oh
2
my
a.m. drunk food, but also
gosh.
your breakfast
Right.
and your lunch. It's great.
They're now
Oh, man.
carrying all
Okay.
the Jocko Fuel products. So
Oh,
that's our
awesome.
sponsor. So they make protein
Okay.
powders,
Yeah, these are really good.
creatine. They've been a great sponsor, incredible
Yeah.
people that run it, veteran owned
Okay.
and operated.
Awesome.
Jocko's got an incredible podcast, the Jocko podcast.
Yeah.
He's just a really good dude. But yeah, this is my go-to now.
Well, I'm gonna have to
because,
switch
like,
because I know it's a bad habit.
They do sell them at Vitamin Shop. I forgot.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna get them.
But
there.
online is the way to buy them. Is
Okay.
the best way. Yeah.
Good.
And we'll hook you up with our code too, so you
Yeah,
can get a
please
discount.
do.
But
It's a bad
they have-
habit.
they
Trying
have-
to kick it.
well, this will help, right? Because these aren't horrible for you, so I
Yeah.
don't mind it.
Honestly, I think it's the carbonation.
it
That
really
I'm like,
is.
oh, I love carbonation.
Do you
I'll just-
drink fizzy water at all, or
Yeah.
like a soda water?
Yeah.
I'm addicted to that too. Like
We're
I gotta have
addicted.
it. Yeah.
Like I actually went to Safeway last night at like 8 p.m. because we didn't have any. And I'm like, well, we need carbonated water. Like, I'll make a Safeway run for that.
I will too. I don't blame you, man.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
It is good.
The only time carbonation is not good is when you're doing a podcast. Because when I had to stop drinking these during the podcast.
You'll burp.
You'll burp, and then it makes me like cough and my throat a little bit scratchy. So I was like, why am I always coughing?
Yeah.
I was like, because I'm always drinking one of these,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So I'm going to start coughing here in a minute, I'm sure. But this, the best part about this is it's good for you, right?
Yeah.
Like there's nothing in here that's affecting you in a negative way. There's no sugar. There's no bullshit. Like,
yeah.
And that's why I like these, and I'm super stoked that we're endorsed by them. But I've worked for a bunch of those energy drink companies in the past. So I would bring literally a pallet full of Monster home.
Oh
Zero,
my gosh.
whatever. And I'm not saying that it's bad or you shouldn't
It
have
is bad.
I don't think they're great for you.
They are bad.
So a bunch of the bands that I went out on tour with were sponsored by Monster
Yeah.
and stuff. They sponsor so many athletes.
Some of the fighters are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would make stuff for us on stage. It was called tour water.
Okay.
Nobody knows this, really, and I'm probably going to get in trouble by all my Monster friends, but it's just water in a Monster can. So it's the black can with the M-Claw,
Okay.
and it's just water. So we would all be up there as crew, as the rock stars, just...
Yeah.
And it looks like you're drinking like 15 Monsters, but...
And it's just water. They're like, they don't want your heart to go out.
So I got addicted to water in an aluminum can because that's what we had on tour. It wasn't like... So I'm all about this whole drive to go to aluminum and have water in it.
Okay.
I prefer to drink water out of aluminum.
Okay.
Bottle or can is the shit.
Yeah, it's a bad habit.
But I like cold water, so
Do
maybe
you?
that's why.
I don't.
No? Doesn't
No.
matter?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, bad habit.
Yeah. I've heard that cold water is not good for you to drink, though, too. Like
I've actually heard that as well.
I've heard that it'll kill you if like it's a really hot day and you just start
And you drink
pounding it
really cold
You
water?
hydrate faster if it's room temperature.
Oh, really?
Supposedly.
Okay, there's
Oh.
just some science behind. I'm sure Andrew Huberman's got a whole thing on it.
Okay.
But if you like cold water, drink it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, check out Andrew Huberman. There's some super interesting stuff. I'm
I
sure he's
will.
done some stuff on Ultra.
Yeah.
And he's not the best part about him and why I think I like him so much is I kind of came up in that punk rock music, heavy metal scene. And he was like a professional skater and was super into punk rock as a kid.
Similar.
And at some point he decided I'm going to be a neuroscientist and just went off and did
that.
that.
Is crazy.
So he's still like a cool
Imagine
guy.
being that smart. That's crazy. Smarts are not for me. So.
And he's got an incredible podcast, Huberman Labs. Definitely worth the check out. Andrew, if you're listening to this, I'd love to have him on here.
Yeah.
Wealth
That's
of knowledge,
wild.
but super cool,
Gosh.
super cool stuff. And he goes into much more than just like it's about how to get good sleep. Like it's just all
Sleep
stuff to
is
improve
so
you.
important. Yeah. Like underrated. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I've really been tracking that too as much as I can with.
I know.
The
The Garmin will tell me, and this is new. So I'm not used to seeing my sleep.
Yeah.
And when I first got it, I was amazed at like the little amount of sleep I was actually getting. And I'm like, oh, I thought I had a great night's sleep. And it was like 6 hours. I'm like, it's actually not a good night's sleep. Like, yeah. So now it tells me, and now I'm real anal about it. But that's a good thing to be anal about. So
No, it's crazy how technology has changed some of that stuff.
I mean, it'll
right?
track like my REM sleep, light sleep, heavy sleep, all these things. It's so wild. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I love mine.
I love it.
What watch is that?
This is the Enduro
Okay.
Solar.
Yeah, I have the Phoenix, so mine's a few years old, but
Yeah.
mine's a Solar too. And for backpack hunting, all the stuff that I do, I mean, it's so
I got
great
it for
outdoor
Leadville
stuff.
because I'm like, an Apple Watch isn't going to last me, 24 plus hours.
Yeah.
This thing's going to die. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So when are you expecting to, I guess, do your first training? I know that you're already training for it, but do you anticipate running Leadville before you actually run it? Like this summer sometime, or what's kind of the work up to it?
So it's about 32 weeks of training total, which is a long time. I think towards the peak of training, I get to like 80, maybe 90 miles a week, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Between now and then, I have 5 marathons lined up, so I'll do those in kind of all over Colorado. My cousins actually live in Buena Vista, so close to Leadville. So I'll go up there probably once or twice before the actual race and train up there for a couple days or a weekend or whatever, just to get used to like Leadville itself.
Yeah. Altitude, right?
Altitude, yeah.
What's the elevation climate at Leadville? It's a couple thousand feet, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I think you get up.
It's up and down, right?
Oh yeah, up and down. I want to say 14,000 feet.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a monster. Yeah.
So for people that don't know what the Leadville 100 is,
Yeah.
can you kind of explain some of that and what the lore is behind it? And it's not something that you can just like, if I decided I wanted to go run the Leadville this year, I can't just sign up on the website and go run it, right?
Right. So it's you can qualify for it. They have qualifying races with qualifying times. So you can get in that way. And then I think if you volunteer for a certain amount of hours or a certain amount of races, you can get in. Or you do the lottery system, which is what I did. So you essentially like put your name in a hat, and if you're lucky enough to be picked, then you get a spot in the race. So yeah, an average Joe couldn't just, I'm going to sign up. Like you have to be selected and picked, and it's a tight process. Like I actually applied not this past year, but the year prior, and didn't get in. And I'm so glad looking back that I didn't, because I'm like, dude, what was I thinking? Like I had one marathon under my belt, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna run Leadville. Like it was such a blessing I didn't get in, because that would have been a nightmare. But yeah, so you have to essentially put your name in a hat.
So once you've raced this, and let's say you complete it, are you invited back the next year automatically, or is it you got to go through this whole process?
No, you go through it again. Okay. Yeah. So it's heartbreaking for a lot of people, because, God forbid you don't finish, you don't have a guaranteed spot to like go back and get redemption next year, Right. So you got to really give it your all. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Your work up to this is what is that kind of like in that 32 weeks? What is your plan?
It's a lot.
Okay.
It's a lot. I essentially train all day, and then I work at the gym at our front desk at night, like afternoon to evening. So right now I'm running twice a day typically. And then I actually train with Eric at Landau Performance for strength training. So I do that twice a week, Tuesday, Thursday with him. But I run once in the morning, so usually, an hour plus, and then I go in and do that lift, and then go run again for an hour plus, an hour-ish, and then I go to work. So I'm clocking, 10, 12, 14, 18, somewhere around there miles a day. A day. Yeah. Like we're in double digits pretty much every day.
That's awesome.
Which is awesome. So.
That's incredible. Yeah. That takes some discipline, right? Yeah.
It's like a full-time job. Then on the weekends you have back-to-back long runs. So I have off on Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday. Saturday I have, a long run of 10, 12, 16, 18, whatever miles. And then Sunday's the same thing. So
now at this point, are you looking forward to that, or what is your mindset going into that? Because
for Leadville?
Well, just for training in general, like, because I find myself a lot of times like having trouble putting on my running shoes. Like,
I mean, a lot of like, I think a lot of people, I'll talk to them about it or whatever, and they always ask, how are you so motivated? And I'm like, no, like, hold on a minute. This is not motivation. Like, if I did this with motivation, I wouldn't be doing this, because I don't have that 80% of the time, but I want it, and it's something I committed to, and so you do it anyways. You know what I mean?
I think the commitment is huge for me, like saying something publicly or having some accountability, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, deep to my core, I've thought about this race for years. So now I get to do it,
Yeah, that's incredible.
Which makes training so cool. Like, I was talking to one of our fighters the other day, you know, he's like, how's training going? And I was like, you know what? This has been the best training cycle that I've ever had amongst all my marathons, all these different things, because I get to do this. Like, this is not a race, again, that you can just sign up for and, you know, flippantly train for. Like, just to be accepted and to train for this race is such a cool opportunity. So,
And you want to show up, right?
yeah,
So like that's
you
a big part of
got
it.
to like be on your P's and freaking Q's for this. So,
Yeah.
you get to do this. I get to train for this. I get to run today, you know? So
what is the lore for you behind this race, and why are you so adamant about running the Leadville 100? Is there like a special thing? Is this something that you've wanted to do just since you started running marathons, or has it been
so I
deeper
actually,
seed?
So when I ran that 20 miles just off the couch, I was sitting watching YouTube videos about running. I was all inspired and motivated and whatever. And this video comes up about Leadville. And at that time, I thought people ran marathons, and like that was literally it. I had no idea we were even like humanly capable of running 100 miles or running further than a marathon. And I watched this documentary of this guy go out and do Leadville. And that was the first like picture in my mind of ultramarathons. And from that point on, I knew like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was humanly possible. Like, I want to go do that. So I think it's just to prove to myself that I can do it. But there's also bigger reasons, like, you know, even recently with all of my dad's stuff, like that's been a big driving factor of, you know, dang, you might have not been with us, you know, so I better do this. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I think so many people have goals in life and stuff like that, but they don't do anything to pursue them, right? Like,
yes, you have to have a why.
Gee, wouldn't it be great if I could do this or do that or whatever?
Right.
But it's like until you start moving, and I think that that's the biggest thing. Even when I'm sitting there and like, God, I don't want to go to the gym today. It's Sunday. I don't want to go.
Those
do
are
a
the
Murph.
days you need to do.
I want to stay home and watch football. Like, and then
it's
I'll
hard.
procrastinate, and then I get there
hard.
half an hour later than I wanted to be, and then I'm like, oh, now I don't have time. It's like, you know, all this shit is going through my head.
Yes.
Right? And I'm just talking myself out of it. But once I start doing it, then it's like, okay, here I am.
Yes.
There's only one way to get through this.
Right.
It's one more squat at a time.
Exactly.
One more.
You know, I have more runs like that than I do. Oh my gosh, this was such a good run. Like, you know, even today, over the weekend, I was on a 10-mile run. It was the best 10 miles I've had in probably a year. And today I went out and ran 6 miles, and I thought I was going to die.
Right.
Like, you just have bad days. You know, it's just part of it. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah.
So, as far as your training regimen goes and what you're doing now, are you doing just strength and conditioning stuff at Landau and working on some of that sort of stuff?
Yeah. So he has a program pretty much built for like Leadville specific.
Really?
Basically to keep my it's not like, you know, heavy lifting and I want to get really strong, and it's literally just to keep my body together.
Sure.
Just to make sure it doesn't crumble.
Did you put this program together yourself, or do you have some coaches outside of Eric helping you out with kind of the method to the madness?
Yeah. So I've never had a coach in this ever. For my marathons, I've had my dad essentially write me a program, and I'm like, okay, great. This will be good enough. Not that a marathon isn't a big deal, but you could, if you wanted, couch to marathon. So training for it, you know, I took it seriously, but you don't have to take it super seriously. This, you have to take really seriously, you know?
Well, and for people that don't understand this, they call it ultra for a reason. It's not really about the distance.
No.
I mean, it is. 100 miles is fucking insane.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that.
It is.
But also the terrain that you're running on, right?
Yes.
Most marathons are in a city. So it's like around a lake or a
flat
point to point
road,
or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So you're typically on asphalt, the
Right.
street's closed.
Right.
if you fall down, there's probably somebody
Medical
there
to
that can
help
get you
you.
medical.
Yeah.
There might be a water station, here or there.
You don't have that.
This is a little bit different. This is like basically over the Continental Divide.
Yeah. It is.
And it's on a trail, and you have the
Yes.
elevation.
Yes.
A lot of marathons, there's not a whole lot of elevation
No.
change, right?
No.
It's pretty flat.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for-
So the actual training plan I got from Hal Higdon. That's where I've gotten all my marathon plans from. That's where my dad got his from.
Okay.
And then I sat on Zoom calls with probably 4 or 5 ultra coaches, and I took that plan and I said, I'm going to give you this plan. Make your edits. Help me. Like,
That's
what
cool.
do I
so
do?
you have reached out to.
So I've reached out to some people who just know more than I do. Like, you can't do this alone. So I had them kind of make this plan for me, essentially. And I picked my dad's brain and my brain. And with 5 and 6 people, we made this custom plan pretty much. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, do you have anybody locally that you're doing with or working with or that you train with at all? Or
No,
anybody in Colorado?
No, most people don't like running, so to call someone up and be like, hey, you want to go run 20 miles with me today? Like, people don't want to do that.
I tell you no.
Yeah, right. People don't want to do that.
Right.
So I train alone 99% of the time, but I enjoy it like that. I don't like running with people.
It's your time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We've had a couple ultra runners on the podcast previous to this. There were a few episodes back. My buddy Jay Steinberg actually lives right up here.
Okay.
He's been on twice.
Yeah.
He was our second episode.
Got it.
Incredible athlete. I'd love to put you in touch with him if
Yeah,
you want some
that'd
help.
be
He's
awesome.
ran the Leadville.
Oh my gosh.
He's ran the Bighorn. He does a bunch of Ironman stuff.
Oh, I want to do one of those.
He's done
Cool.
Grand Canyon rim to rim.
Yep, I've seen that.
He was a personal trainer for a long time.
Okay.
And just an absolute awesome human being.
Yeah.
Incredible dude. And he's completed, I don't know how many ultras he's completed.
Yeah.
And it's not about social media or any of
Right.
that stuff for him. He's actually deleted his social media
Oh
account.
my
It's
gosh.
it's just about the he's a super
Yeah.
focused guy, super
You
in
have
shape
to
guy.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd love to connect you with him.
That'd be awesome.
And then Mercedes Siegel Gaither is actually in Buena Vista.
Okay.
And she's an ultra runner.
Awesome.
We've had her on, and I was actually just talking to her this weekend.
Yeah.
So I'd love to put you in touch with them
That'd
if
be
you want
great.
some help or just
Absolutely.
pick their brain a little bit or
Yeah.
something like that. And
I know
anything-
I've had some connections and I'm like, can we just like call and just let me just like pick your brain on these things.
And these are good people, right?
Yeah.
So like as much as you guys have a community at the gym and with
Yeah.
your fighters and stuff, that's kind of how I view this podcast
Yes.
as well. So anything that we can do to help, and
Love it.
the people that we have on, they understand that, and they've
Yeah.
done nothing but ever help me. So I'm
Right.
sure that they would be totally
love it.
accepting to help you.
Yeah.
So with that being said, when I talk to you on the phone and I don't really understand, you're the youngest female to be accepted to run the Leadville 100, right? So
Yeah.
you're breaking a record right there.
Yeah.
If you complete it, you'll be the youngest female to finish in history.
Correct.
Okay.
Which
That's
is
pretty incredible,
Which
right?
is wild. The crazy thing is that when I first heard about Leadville, and even, when I'm going to put my name in, like, that was never on my radar. I'm going to run Leadville to be the youngest. It was just, I'm going to run Leadville because I want to
You just wanted to do it.
I just want to do it. Like, and then I was doing some research before I'd put my name in for the lottery. And I came upon this like list of, it's on their website, of all the past runners. And I'm like looking at their ages, and I started to realize all these people are older than me. Like, what is the age record here? And so I don't have contact with Ken and Mary Lee. They're the race directors or owner or whatever. But I got in touch with a family friend, and I said, they have contact with them, and I said, can you reach out to them and like confirm this, because that would be crazy. And she's like, yeah, sure. So she called them or whatever she did, and Sure enough, I'm the youngest female to,
That's super awesome.
which is so crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been like a added piece to this, which has been so cool. Cause
That's even more of a reason to show
yes,
up, right?
exactly.
Sure.
Yeah, when I don't want to run, I'm like, oh, well, you're gonna be the youngest one, so let's go run. Like, yeah.
That's
So,
pretty incredible.
It's super cool.
I think it's really cool, and I'm going to be rooting for you, and we're going to do
Thank you.
anything that we can do to help you here.
Thank
so, you just let us know when you need something.
I will. Yeah, it's cool.
So as far as this race goes, there's got to be a plan kind of in place too.
Yeah.
Once you start running it, right? Because you
so
have
many
some
logistics.
pacers, you have you have to kind of set up your own aid stations or drop bags or something,
it's
right?
So detail oriented.
Yeah.
People don't give credit for that.
Yeah.
There's so you have a crew, and then you have pacers. So the first 62 miles of the race, you're essentially on your own when you're running. But you have a crew. So every, whatever it is, 10 miles or whatever, you meet up with your crew and they have food and you can change your clothes and your shoes and do all your things and then keep going. And then after 62 miles, you can pick up a pacer. So I've actually got a couple of our fighters and then my family to all kind of come in, and which is so cool to essentially pace me to the finish, which is incredible. So, yeah.
Yeah, it takes a support team, right?
Yes, you have to. It takes so many people to make this come
Don't
together.
ask me to be a pacer. I wouldn't
Yeah,
be
no.
any good at it. I could give you a protein bar
Yeah,
or
right?
a goo or something like that.
Well, I had to tell the fighters, I said, you're going to pace me, and I'm normally super bubbly and chatty and whatever, but I apologize in advance for however I am when you pick me up. 62 miles deep, like,
just remember you're there for
apologize.
yourself and not for anybody else, I think is a huge thing, right?
It's a big deal.
I think when they step into the octagon, they'll understand, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because
it's
a big deal.
Honestly, ultra running is a gross, crazy sport. Like, you're throwing up and you're crying, and it's all the things. So
it's kind of funny because the couple times that we've had Jay on, he's like, you really find out who your true friends are and stuff when they're rubbing lotion on your feet,
right?
And like, maybe clipping your
gross.
toenail or whatever. He's like, it's a disgusting.
I'm like, who's gonna be there when I'm throwing up in the bushes and crying?
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
So yeah, it's crazy.
So I guess I want to bring this up real quick because I thought it was super cool, and just to have the support that you have around you, I think is so special and so unique.
So rare.
Right?
So
like,
cool.
You just ran an ultra, was that back in October?
It was October.
Something like that.
And it was a disaster.
And you had Yusuf
yes.
carried you to your car, right? So this professional UFC fighter. Yeah. The Moroccan Devil.
Piggybacking me up to the car. Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
It was cool.
To have that support's super rad. So shout out to anybody that's
you
supporting
need it. It's such a, any athlete out there can attest that it's hard to be an athlete, like mentally, emotionally. It's not just, I'm going to go run. Like, there are so many other things. So to have support like that is super cool. Yeah.
Do you have anybody outside of this? Like, because I'm sure that there's some financial burden that goes on with this, right? Like, you're basically sacrificing a potential amount of money just to train, right? That sort of thing. So if you place high enough in this, is there any sort of like prize or purse? Do you have any sponsorship, any endorsements, anybody helping you out to kind of train for this thing?
Yeah. So I'm not sure about placement. I don't know. I'm not sure what you get if you place real high. I won't place real high. Yeah, right. Sponsorships, I've gotten a couple. There's a Christian clothing company. They're called God the Father. Okay. So I've been sponsored by them. Super cute clothes. Great, like, mission statement and the whole deal. And then there's an IV company. They're called Twin Rivers. She started at the gym with our fighters, giving them IVs for performance and athletics and
awesome.
All these things.
I'm a huge fan of IVs.
Dude, love them. Love them.
I'd get stuck every day if I could afford it.
She comes in every Friday, so I've worked out a sponsorship deal with her, and
Nice.
I get one every Friday. so awesome. Check them out. They're
Yeah.
so great.
Cool.
So cool. So I've gotten that, but it is I was in nursing. I was going to make $50,000 a year. That's a lot of money for a 19-year-old, you know?
It is.
And I quit that because I didn't enjoy it, but also because I got in this race and there was no way I was going to train the way I needed to train and be in a 12-hour shift. So, financially there is a, hey, we're going to live at home now, We're not going to move out as soon as we thought or, make X amount of money each month like I was going to or whatever.
That's part of that sacrifice
yes.
and discipline though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I left a lot behind financially doing what I'm doing now. And I've been looked at.
Yeah, but you
pretty...
can always make more money.
Yes.
And
I don't care about the money
it.
either.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy my family. I'll live at home till this is finished. This is my A goal. So we'll do whatever it takes to make this happen, and if that means sacrificing some money and living at home and the whole deal, we'll do it,
Awesome.
So yeah,
cool. We'll be rooting for you. I definitely want to have you back after the race.
I'd love that.
So
tell you all about my guts and glory.
100%. I want to hear all those war stories.
Yeah, right.
And then don't let me forget, I'd like to connect you with Jay and
Absolutely.
both Mercedes as well.
Okay.
And get you their information. They'd be a valued resource for
Absolutely.
sure. So what do you got coming up? Are you doing anything prior to this? Any sort of press or you're coming on here? That's super. I'm honored to have you.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming.
So cool.
And thanks for sharing your story.
Absolutely.
I didn't think we would dive into Africa and all kinds of different
crazy.
stuff, right? And you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
But what do you got coming up? Are you looking to do more podcasts if people reach out? Do you want to do more media stuff? Are you looking for any endorsements? How can people help you?
So I sort of took it as a sign from God that once nursing didn't work out and I quit. And 3 days later, I got the email that I was accepted into Leadville. So I sort of took it as a sign, like, okay, this is maybe where I'm supposed to be for now. So I'll take all the podcasts, endorsements, sponsorships, all of it to make this thing happen and, ride it as long as we can.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. We network with a bunch of them, so I'd be glad to share you with that too.
Please do.
And then I can put you in contact with some of our sponsors just to see if they'd be interested.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I think it's great that you're a female and you're in the outdoor space and doing this because it's
rare.
Honestly, it is rare.
Yeah.
For us to find guests that are females, especially your age and with your drive, we're really rooting for you. I actually want to re-gift you something.
Oh.
So this was a couple podcasts ago, and I thought that you could really relate to this.
Yeah.
This was Lisa Thompson. I just had her on a few episodes ago.
Awesome.
She's a cancer survivor.
Oh my gosh.
And everything that you and your family's just been through. But she's done the 7 summits, so she's climbed 7 of the highest mountains on each continent.
Gosh, that is crazy.
Oh yeah, sorry, right here. Awesome book, great read. I was sent this by the publicist, but I'm gonna re-gift it to you.
Thank you.
And she's the second woman to ever summit K2.
Wow.
As well. And she kind of did this later in life.
Powerful.
But
That's
I don't know if you read, but I'm sure that you do. Being Mark's daughter, I know that books are big for him. And,
you do a lot being Mark's daughter.
Yeah. It's a great read, and I got something out of it.
Awesome.
There was one point in the book where she was talking about she decided that she wanted to get into mountaineering well before she was diagnosed with cancer.
Okay.
And then cancer came along, and it was like, shit, what do I do now?
Right. It's life-changing.
And she was like, I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to just keep
Love
after
it.
my goal, right?
Love it.
And there was one point where she had just gone through a treatment and she got home, and I'm probably screwing this up, but it's in the book. So go check the book out. But she was scheduled to climb like Everest in, I don't know, like 4 months or something.
Gosh.
And she was so weak that she was having trouble walking to her mailbox to get the mail and get back inside.
Yeah.
So like pretty
Wow.
endearing. A lot of discipline.
Yeah.
Super.
You have to have
super
that for things like
inspiring
this.
story. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I wanted to share that with you. I was like,
Thank you. This is
you could probably really relate to it
Yeah.
with everything that's happened in the last.
Absolutely.
So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Anything you want to bring up before we end this thing? We're
No,
kind of
I
coming
don't
up
think
on
so.
time. Okay.
I don't think so. This has been awesome. Thank
where
you.
Where can people follow you? Where can they follow your journey? I
Yeah.
know you're on Instagram. Let's
I'm on
drop all that.
Instagram. I'm technically on Facebook.
Okay.
Technically on Twitter. I don't ever go on there though. I'm mainly on Instagram.
We're the same way. Like
Yeah.
we have those accounts, and I think the Twitter
I
account
have
is
them
just
to just
totally
literally
stagnant.
say I have them, and I don't ever go on there.
Right.
Yeah, ever. So,
Okay.
Instagram.
Okay. What's your Instagram handle?
It's just my name, Brooklyn
Okay.
Montoya.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, which is
Okay.
nice and easy.
At Brooklyn Montoya, and then
Yes.
Facebook. I'm sure you can find it there too.
Yeah.
You got an
All
awesome
my
page.
accounts are literally my first and last name.
Okay.
Twitter and Facebook are lame though.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time. I
Thank
really
you. I
appreciate you
appreciate you having
connecting
me.
with me, and I'm
Absolutely.
glad I got to sit down and get to know you and
thank you.
another person from the Factory X family. So
Right?
we
So
love all
cool.
you guys. So shout out.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks everybody for listening. Have a good one. Thanks for listening to the Mountainside Podcast. If you haven't had a chance to do this already, please take a moment, follow, like, subscribe, or rate on whatever platform you catch the Mountainside Podcast at. Also, if you'd like some more information on upcoming episodes, safety tips, access to all of our affiliates, and all the badass discounts that we get here at the Mountainside Podcast, check out themountainsidepodcast.com.